back, Road Ministry, the World Moment, Mr. Monty coming back at you live and direct. And what we said was going to take place is beginning to take shape. So in our last video, we talked about Trump being the Knight of Jerusalem, the Knight Commander of the Temple, the 27. And we saw the number 27 after the assassination, and we got a lot of double dose of the 27th degree over the last several months, going into the election and after the election. And we just needed the reality of what this meant. I put out several videos about this. And we talked about the separation between church and state, and that's the job of the Knight of Jerusalem, or the Knight Commander of the Temple, is to separate church and state. We also had a video regarding, is MAGA good for Israel? Is MAGA good for Israel? So it's MAGA on the side of Israel. And we see yesterday, for those that don't know, let's see if we can pull this up. So remember Trump and, trying to grab this. So yesterday, Trump meets with Netanyahu, for those that don't know. And Trump says that, Gaza can be a Riviera. Remember how Trump was talking about the land and everything that could be built on the land in Gaza, and, the remodeling job that they had planned for Gaza. So this plan had been set in place ever since Netanyahu came back. So this is what we mean by birds of a feather flock together, the $38 billion over 10 years. And Trump is saying that, hey, this might take 10 to 15 years. So even when a Democrat gets in office, they're still going to be building in Gaza. So the U.S., with Trump now saying as him as the commander, or the Knight's commander, I'm going to go in and I'm going to protect Jerusalem, or I'm going to protect Gaza. Now, this was done before. For those that don't remember, kind of in the history of things, let's come out of this. I lost my thing, but go back a couple. But kind of in the history of things, when we talk about America and Korea, remember how America split up Korea and it made the North and South Korea? So who's to say that this is not the plan for Jerusalem? Remember, Israel is Jerusalem. Remember, the capital of Jerusalem is in Israel for now. But who's to say that Gaza can't become New Jerusalem? And then we create this North and South Jerusalem in that region, where, of course, South Jerusalem is going to be, or North Jerusalem this time, will be on American soil, where South Jerusalem basically be in Israel. Now remember, there are still a lot of resources in the Gaza area that, are very profitable. Right now, they're talking about relocating certain people from Gaza, but who you think gonna do the cleaning and the building inside of that area for the next 10 to 15 years? So Hamas made a deal with Trump and the contractors. Thus, let's go all the way back to the DEI contract mode to get certain people to not have access to contracts. Now, this is one thing about black Americans that make them so ditto-headed for the most part. No black American is going to get a contract to do any work in any parts of Israel. We already know that. But this DEI freeze wasn't created to stop black Americans from getting those contracts. It was also created to stop various religious groups from getting those contracts. So now with the DEI freeze, who's to say any Israeli contracts will get any contract money to do any work in that area? They should get first deals with diversity and equity. I bet they don't. So you're going to see a lot of American contractors come into the region. They're going to hire a lot of people, a lot of Palestinians to do the work. And the Palestinians for the next 10 to 15 years will be rebuilding Gaza and Palestine. Because one thing you have to have if you're going to compete in a region or have your own sustained government is an economy. What's their economy? What did they make in Palestine? We're basically going back and forth over Muslim and Jew. I mean, that's not an economy. So the U.S. is going to bring in an economy to Palestine and give them something to have. Now, remember now, over the last couple of years, Israel has become what? Prime time resort property. People want to go to Israel. It's the motherland. People want to go to Jerusalem as far as, and I mean the motherland as far as religious history. People want to go there to touch the history. And you're going to see a split. A lot of Christians are going to be in New Jerusalem. A lot of Christians are going to be in Palestine. A lot of Muslims are going to be in Palestine. That's going to be the split that I see coming. But mostly Muslims and Christians will be in the Palestinian areas. And you still have a mix, but mostly Jews in the Israeli areas. And you'll travel to and from. But you'll see most of your big time resorts will be in Gaza, in that area, because Gaza is closer to the water than Israel. I mean, Israel has water around it, but Gaza is the strip that takes you out to the ocean. So definitely that's what that's about. So really, the Israelis, in their mind, hey, we're going to stretch Israel out. No, the only thing you did was allowed America to come in there, and America can decide that that land that you took now can be Palestinian land. Basically, you just sold the land. That's what Netanyahu just did. Like, Netanyahu's so stupid, he think he can trust Trump, which I said he can't. Like I say, Trump is a businessman, and so is Netanyahu. So right now, the problem you got in Israel is they can't separate church and state. Netanyahu can separate church and state, and he's proved that in his meeting with Trump, that he can separate church and state. But they can't separate church and state. So they got to deal with Hamas right now. They're trying to get, and this is all a script. Everything's a script. They got to deal with Hamas. They're trying to get the hostages out of Hamas. And a minute ago, Netanyahu was the ultimate bad guy. Now he's turning into the good guy again. They're turning him back into a baby face. Because now he's saying, no, I don't want the war anymore. I want to get the hostages. I want a truce with the Saudis. And the first thing the Israelis, who can't separate church and state, are doing, they're making it a Jewish-Muslim thing. And that ain't good for business or the growth of any economy. Saudis got all the money. That's not how you grow economy. And now you understand what we mean by Trump being the Knight of Jerusalem. The Knight of Jerusalem. He has to teach them tolerance. We have to live together. Kumbaya, my Lord. That's what the 27th is there for. We must trust each other. We must work together, Muslims and Jews. We have to build solid states, solid governments. That's what the Knight Commander's job is. He is the Knight of Jerusalem. And you see the one lady, I saw one of the Israeli citizens, I guess she has family that have been taken. She said, "Oh, Donald Trump, no, don't let them start the war again. Please, Mr. Trump, come save us." Prophecy. See how they did it? So when you see these numbers, always, and I love Zach. I like what Zach does. Zach breaks things down wonderfully when he grabs the number, but he never tells you the meaning of the number. Every number has a meaning. You can throw out a word, but what are they really trying to communicate? So their numbers are communications. So you have to go into the number. What is this number? And to do that, you have to go into the organization. So as you go into the checkerboard board organization, they work from the degrees of masonry. And every degree has a job. So we see Trump's job. He is the Knight of Jerusalem. He's the protector. He's there to teach tolerance. Hey, we got to keep the peace so we can build up this financial paradise in Israel. If y'all want to be a tourist attraction, tourist spot for the religions of the world, hey, we need to build this up. And both parties we see were in cahoots to make this happen, be it the Democrat and the Republicans. So, of course, now the Democrats, what are they going to do? They're going to try to make Trump the bad guy. How dare him try to push the Palestinians out? How dare him try to rebuild hotels in Gaza? Yet, they did nothing to stop Netanyahu from blowing the place to bits, did they? Nothing. They dropped some food off in a spot that they knew the people were going to be displaced for a while anyway. Now the people have to come back because, hey, it's their home. And you need people in the place to make this economy work. You think the Israelis are going to Gaza to work at hotels? Hell no. No, they're not going in those areas. And you're going to have tourism from all over the world because you also get Muslims to come in to be tourists. Because, hey, that's an area that's shared by all religions. So, yes, the Gazans, the Hamas has made a deal to become the political power in that region, but the economic power. I think the biggest fight for Hamas is no economic power. We see that Hamas also asks for a change in the Israeli government. Hey, we need some of these guys to get up out of here. So Netanyahu played the game, which he does. Remember, Netanyahu is not from Israel. He's not from that region. So he played the game like he's a true Zionist. Netanyahu don't care nothing about it. You get a lot of these so-called Zionists and so-called Jews that don't even go to the synagogue. They're Jew and Zionist by name. They don't go to the synagogue. And you meet a lot of people in the Jewish community who like to tell on it. I've spoke to people who like to tell on folks, and they definitely say, hey, a lot of these folks are putting on the front. Half of them don't even go to synagogue. Half of them they do not attend, they do not practice, they do not worship like that. But they put on the front. They put on the front. You have that in Al-Islam. Saudis put on the front. They are some of the weakest Muslims you want to meet. But at the end of the day, Netanyahu is more business than religion. And he's moving away from blow Hamas to bits because of religious hatred, because that don't make money. So he's stepping away from that. The government in place is still, oh man, we got to blow the bits. We got to keep attacking. We got to keep the war going. Yet there are hostages in Gaza, so-called. Allegedly. Let's say allegedly. There are hostages in Gaza. So if the Israeli government right now, with the situation in place, Trump saying what he's saying, Netanyahu saying what he's saying, decide to attack Gaza, decide to break the ceasefire, Trump is not coming to that government's rescue. If the Iranians decide to eradicate Israel, Trump is not coming to their rescue because that government in place breaks the ceasefire. Netanyahu at that point is not guilty of breaking the ceasefire. Hamas doesn't see Netanyahu as a bad guy because he kept his word, but the government in place didn't. Meaning that Iran can do whatever the hell they want to do to Israel. And we get a total rebuild of that land. And so specific words are used by Trump when he's explaining this situation. He's saying that land as a whole. That means Israel and Gaza. That whole region needs to be rebuilt. The political system needs to be rebuilt in the region. So if the Israeli government in place does what it does, they seal their own fate. They have no protection. They have no help. Trump's not coming in to save them once whatever happens, happens. Understand? So Netanyahu gets off the hook because he can say, man, well, I was trying to keep the peace and blah, 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 blah. And they just wanted to go to war. So he gets to get off the hook. He gets what he wants. He gets off the hook. And that government in Israel that's in place, They get the chaos. They get the heck. So that's what we mean by the end of the Israeli government that's in place. That's the government that can't separate church and state. That's where Trump comes in, the separator of church and state. The state is the builders of the economies. You can't mix religion into the building of a state or state affairs, like we said before. Because once religion takes over in state affairs, chaos ensues, and we see the chaos now. Oh, we willing to bomb them, even if our hostages are there. Even if they got some of our people hostages, we still bomb them. There's nothing left to bomb. Everything is blown to bits. Yet they are on the mind state. We're supposed to be chasing down Hamas. What Hamas? 1984 is the perfect example of the creation of a thing. But who's to say the thing is true? Bloods and Crips been fighting for years. They don't even know what they're fighting about anymore. Who's to say the creation of the thing was ever true? Who's to say the creation of the thing just was to keep the people going? And sometimes people have to look at it. That's why we preach separation of church and state. Because if religiously you're fueled and you get full of this hate and rage, do you miss economic opportunities that could be created as a whole in a region? So this will be interesting to see. You see a lot of people in the government pretty much quitting. That's what they want. So Netanyahu and Trump can grab who they want to. You're going to see Americans working in the Israeli government. Like I say, it's a hostile takeover. Netanyahu don't give a damn about Israel. Netanyahu cares about his pocket. He cares about his pocket. You will see Palestinians working in Israel. It's going to happen. And you'll see America doing what they do best, playing as the puppeteers. The elite runs Israel. The checkerboard board runs Israel. The Catholic Church wants Israel, and they want their peace. And today, Trump delivered the message that, hey, the Christians want Israel. Now, you'll say, but Mike D, you just said that there should be a separation between church and state. There is. The Catholic Church is the biggest state in the world, and they control all the states. The war states, the entertainment states, they control them all. We say the 7 city states. The most powerful city state is what? The Catholic Church. Because they control economies. They've always dictated how economies will run. That's why you have all these subgroups and organizations who came from them. The Jesuits. We talk about the Knights Templar. All these came from them. So they are the biggest state in the world. And they have always wanted Jerusalem. They fought crusade after crusade after crusade and never could get it. So they needed a new strategy to get Jerusalem. And they created the best strategy. Give it back to the Jews in Jerusalem who have never been able to sustain that region. They never have. They've always been conquered. Give it to them. Create the idea that they got something. And then come in and take it back. But do it in a way that's so conniving that they won't even know there's a hostile takeover. And they are going to be occupied again. Think about that region. For the most part, the people who are truly from that region, the Jewish people in that region have always been an occupied people. The Muslims in that region have always been occupied. A lot of Muslims came in that region. But it's always been an occupied area. They've never truly governed themselves. And now they gave them a taste of governance or the idea that they were. And what did? They brought in Jews from other places to occupy. Jews from Europe to occupy that land. So if you really think about it, the people in that land have never really governed themselves. They've always been an occupied people. And this is just a continue of new occupation. This now is the Christians coming in and saying, okay, we finally want our slice. We're sending in the Knight Commander to get our slice. He's going to play like it's a separation between church and state because the most powerful state is coming, which is the Holy Catholic Church. That's what it's always about. That's what this is truly about. That's why they use the number 38. 38 is the number of death. $38 billion over the next 10 years. A slow death over the next 10 years. A slow death over the next 10 years. And you'll see how these changes affect the Israeli state to the point where it won't even exist in 10 years. Be wary of the company that you keep. Be wary of the company that you keep. People need to learn these lessons because sometimes what you want, you'll get. So Trump is the hero now. If the Israeli government in place outside of Netanyahu, because he's acting innocent all of a sudden, attack, they seal their own fate. So either A, they all quit, B, they try to take out Netanyahu. We see which way they go with this. But America and the Holy Catholic Church have made their move, which is, hey, we want a slice of the pie. We'll rebuild this over here. But the people ain't going nowhere because America ain't going to be over there. They'll put the troops there, and then the Gazas will come in and clean it up and rebuild. Because somebody got to work that economy. That's the deal. It's the Maki Back Road Ministry. The pendulum swings. Peace.